Hey, Demonic Firefly, thanks for the 6-month resub. I appreciate the half a year. Welcome back. Yeah, so what this deck does is it plays a bunch of cards that draw cards, and then eventually it flips Primal Amulet over into Primal Wellspring, and then you start casting lots of Nexus of Fates till eventually your deck is all Nexus of Fates and you keep redrawing them, and then somewhere in the middle your opponent either concedes or you cast Chromium the Mutable and attack them a few times. If you think this deck is sweet and you're interested in some tips on how to play it in best of 3 matches, in addition to watching my videos with it, you can also find an article that I wrote about it on coolstuffinc.com that includes a full sideboard guide. You ever play Chromium before the Infinite combo? Sure, you can get him exiled if you're not careful. How soon you play the Chromium depends on what deck you're playing against and what kind of situation you're put into. This hand doesn't have any white mana in it, but between Search for Azcanta and Radical Idea, we're pretty likely to find one by turn 3. Or turn 4 or so. And we have our deck's namesake in the Amulet in our opener, so let's do it. There is no Teferi in this deck. So this deck doesn't have fog effects. It has cards like Ritual of Rejuvenation to gain it health against aggressive decks. So because of that, we don't have a good way to keep a Teferi alive. So Teferi's often just going to get attacked to death. bit.ly/Google articles will take you to a link with all of my Cool Stuff Inc. articles on it. You can also go to my website, jeffhoagland.com, and click articles in the top bar. I write for them every week. Nope, I would love a second white source. Look at that. Just gotta believe, chat. How do you play around Settle with this deck? Well, post board you have counter spells, and game 1 you can use Dispersal off of Amulet, copying it to empty all the cards out of their hand. We might get Spell Pierce here and feel real bad, but the Drake's matchup can be hard, so I definitely want to just like jam my Amulets ASAP and try and get them flipped over so we can combo. Yep, so we did fortunately hit a second Amulet here, so that'll be good for us. There's a deck list on your screen. Alternatively, you can type !deck in chat to get a direct link to the deck list. The answer to your question for why the heal 4 over the heal 3 is yes, we play both. You have another Spell Pierce? Woof. Usually they only play 3 copies of Spell Pierce, so I think it's right to jam into the first one, and it's definitely right to jam into the second one. Deck lists that are listed as coming up later today. You can always find all of my decks that I'm coming up on stream in my deck queue with links to deck lists. I'm gonna bin that. We're just looking for a sweeper at this point. Always try to stay organized on stream here. So you can find decks that we have coming up in the deck queue, and you can find decks that we played previously on my YouTube channel. You can find the current deck that we're playing right at this very moment on screen via the Stream Decker widget. So I have 2 copies of Cleansing Nova and 3 copies of Settle the Wreckage in my main deck here, so we're not just dead to what's going on here, but we are definitely a little bit behind at the moment. Especially since they killed our Amulets. If they hadn't had the second Pierce, we'd probably run away with this game even without a sweeper, but not having another Amulet going feels pretty bad. Ding. Perfect, perfect. Just wipe those off the board, shall we? So, do I want to play a second search? Probably. Just get... So, while I can't flip this into another Azcanta, because obviously I can't have 2 of the same legendary land in play, this will still provide some card selection every turn. I mean, like, to be fair there, we were 19 cards into my deck without any of my sweepers. So post-board in this matchup, they tend to get a lot more counter spells, so we want to bring in a lot more interaction. We turn into a bit of a control deck in this matchup because it's hard for us to combo through all the disruption they tend to put into play, bring to the table. Hey, Ark, thanks for the 10-month resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Well, obviously, Wizards of the Coast hacks the system, so streamers have better luck to make for better television. In case you were unaware. That streamer luck's a real thing. So, I definitely want to trim the Ritual of Rejuvenations. I do moderate my YouTube comments. I firmly believe that if you are creating a space for people to post messages and congregate on the internet, you should be responsible for moderating that space. So I moderate my spaces. I'm actually not going to bring in the last amulet. I think if I bring in the 4th amulet, I just don't quite have enough cantrips. I'm not going to be able to flip them consistently. So we didn't see Phoenixes out of my opponent's deck, and a lot of these blue-red decks in my experience have been moving away from Phoenixes towards being more Drake plus Niv Mizzet decks. And you're correct, I want more Settle the Wreckages if they are playing Phoenixes, but since I'm up a game here, I'm going to hedge like they're just playing more Drakes than anything. The Murmuring Mystic that they played in game 1 is also usually indicative that they're not playing Phoenixes in their build. Obviously nothing's set in stone, but the Murmuring Mystic telegraphs to me that they're likely not in the Phoenix plan. People knock the Spyglass, but it really helps against Vivian and Amulet removal. Yeah, it's fine there. I actually really like the Spyglass for like the random blue-black control decks that exist in the format to shut off their Field of Runes. I've not seen that version. All right, so we're looking for like search for Azcantas and Nexus of Fates, or sorry, Amulets. I actually don't want Nexus of Fate just yet. It's still too early to want to be drawing that card. I don't know about Maximize Velocity. That's a card that most of these builds in general, even the Phoenix builds, have moved away from. But again, like, one of the things that makes this format great is that even the good established decks have so many variations to them that you don't want to make too many assumptions if you can avoid it, because you'll get bit in the butt from people playing cards that are a little bit outside the norm. Drawing an Ixalan's Binding here is sweet, because it potentially lets us lock out a Drake next turn if they play one. They have Shock in their deck. Weird. Maybe they didn't have enough cards to bring in. Okay, so they have Enigma Drake here. This is the better Drake for them to have this turn because it means that they can hold up Spell Pierce / Dive Down. I think I'm actually going to Settle the Wreckage this turn rather than Ixalan's Binding, because I would rather Ixalan's Binding resolve than Settle the Wreckage resolve, and if they have Spell Pierce, they're going to Spell Pierce either of these cards. Well, this is really good for us. Well, this worked out well, so hopefully they attack in here. I get to settle this, and then I get to untap and Ixalan's Binding the Crackling Drake. If they have a Niv Mizzet to follow this up with, I'm going to be incredibly sad, but otherwise we're in a pretty reasonable spot here. So good cards are contextual. It depends on a card that's good in one deck can be bad in another, and vice versa. So in this specific deck, for instance, the cards that gain you life and draw cards are good because we're just looking to cycle through our deck with as many different cards as possible to find our combo pieces. I'm gonna go ahead and pass here. Yeah, dispersaling Niv isn't really a game-winning plan, though. It's a very temporary solution to a very permanent problem. So this turn, for the sake of being resource efficient, I'm going to Anticipate plus Jumpstart Radical Idea. Well, now I found a Primal Amulet. So the fact that I found a Primal Amulet actually means I'm just going to go back to my turn now, because I'd much rather cast my Radical Idea after I have Amulet in play, so that way I can get a counter off my Amulet. Yeah, most of these Drake's decks have somewhere between 2 and 3 Niv Mizzet in them. I don't think I've seen 4 in the straight blue-red build, but again, you don't want to assume too much because there's a lot of variation in these decks that people are playing in the format. Alright, we're at 18. Pretty likely to be able to flip this amulet over next turn, which lets us kind of start churning through decks at a very good rate. Yes, yeah, Radical. I've played some configurations of this deck that have Chart, of course, in them over Radical Idea, and I think I prefer Radical Idea because it's so much better at flipping Primal Amulet over. Alright, eat me. So if we find a Nexus of Fate, there's a good chance we could combo them next turn. Perfect. All right, so we get to get going next turn, most likely. They could have a Spell Pierce here, I suppose. Oh, but I guess even if they Spell Pierce by Nexus of Fate, I get 2 copies of them, right? This doesn't have to resolve in order to flip this over. The combo in this deck, if you're new, is you take an unlimited number of turns. Because Nexus of Fate shuffles back into our deck for some messed up reason. It gets to keep taking more and more turns. So like I cast this, and 2 of them happen here, which means I'm gonna get to take 2 more turns. So even if they have a Spell Pierce here, 1 copy of this Nexus is gonna resolve. To sell boxes, right? Sweet, and I think that's one of our harder matchups, and it's not unwinnable by any means. We definitely have good tools, especially post-board when we get more removal. And the opponent did not have a Spell Pierce there, so they're pretty certain they're dead when we start taking extra turns. If Wizard of the Coast thought Nexus of Fate would not see competitive play. Oh, my sweet summer child. This might be better to mulligan. I don't know. Yeah, there are a lot of decks that get both better and worse playing best of 1 versus best of 3. Linear decks that are hard to interact with, like this one, tend to be much better in best of 1 than best of 3, because there's a lot of cards and sideboards that people can bring in that are good against decks like this, that aren't necessarily good main deck cards. Sure. Discard spells like Duress or narrow counter spells like Negate. Also, one of the things that makes this deck a lot worse in best of 3 is that in game 1, because this deck doesn't have creatures in it that can be targeted, because we can protect Chromium once we put him down, your opponents often have cards like Cast Down and Vraska's Contempt and other things that kill creatures or planeswalkers that literally just don't have a text box against this deck because we don't have meaningful creatures and planeswalkers. So you gain what's called virtual card advantage in game 1 with a deck like this by blanking cards that your opponent has in their deck just by how our deck is built. We're getting really punished for keeping a hand without a white source here. Woof. Ding, ding, ding. Yeah, I agree. This deck's really good in best of 1, but it gets kind of dry beating people up at a certain point. Like, the games that you play post-board are a lot more intricate because you have to, like, bob and weave around the anti-cards they're bringing in. Perfect. So they're missing land drops, but I think we're just gonna triple Rampant Growth them this turn most likely. Come sail away, come sail away, come sail. They're only attacking with 2. Deal. This is the best Settle the Wreckage deck, because when they attack like this with not a lot of stuff, you're like, okay, I'll just like cast my Ritual of Rejuvenation instead of settling you. Actually, you know what? Honestly, thinking about what they have going on here, are we better off just casting Cleansing Nova and killing? Are we better off casting Cleansing Nova and just like letting them draw 6 here? Because like they're stumbling on lands, right? So giving them lands might actually be better than just cleaning the board up here. Yeah, I think I'm actually just gonna Cleansing Nova next turn. Just like enjoy your 6 cards, go. They probably don't have duress, and like I talked about a second ago with the virtual card. Well, now I'm gonna do that. Now I'm gonna do that instead. I tapped my lands incredibly wrong there. That was an incredibly wrong way to tap my mana. I should have left up blue or blue white. Yup. Dang, that auto tapper and a trap music. Oh. All right, that made my day. These damn kids and the rap music. All right, so this is like a free redraw here. All right, let's draw a land here. Dear opponent, how do you feel about drawing 8 cards? Actually, do I just like play this other Primal Amulet and pass and like plan to Settle Wreckage them? That's really bad if they Vivian read me, right? Yeah, I'm just gonna Cleansing Nova them. Oh, the amulet's free because it makes the Nova cost. Yeah, super right. It makes the Nova cost. Yep. Good catch. All right. Enjoy your cards. And then we've got this Nexus of Fate in my hand. So that way I can take 2 turns next turn. 3 mana Wrath of God. Kind of okay, even when your opponent draws 8 cards. Good call. I want to put a stop on my upkeep. So the memorial in our deck is a concession to the fact that sometimes you have to surveil away your 1 chromium, or they like use it. What the? Seriously? Damn it, chat. All right. Next time we hold up Settle the Wreckage. Got it. You live, you learn. You live, you learn. You live, you learned. Alrighty then. Woof. Losing game 1 is not where you want to be. Usually game 1's supposed to be kind of free, and you're supposed to get to roll that one off. That is unfortunate for the home team here. Obviously wasn't playing around standard staple Golgari Raiders. Got there a little bit. Sometimes they get you. Yeah, the old 4-mana 9/9 with haste. Just green things, I guess. Is this like when the Tron deck doesn't work? Exactly. It's exactly like that. Yeah, I don't know. There's definitely like, there could have been merit to just like passing and Settle the Wreckaging them for sure. Cousin Vin, thanks for the continues about to be. Thanks for the 13-month free sub. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me employed here. Keep it going on. Yeah, like I said, one of the big advantages of playing things, you know, a little bit outside the box is you get to get people with cards like Golgari Raiders when they're not playing around it. Just get them. Sweet cards like that. Looking for amulets and search for Azcantas here early since we already have all of our lands. Raiders is my poster child for how sweet standard is. It's a good poster child to have, I think. They had Field of Ruin, really? Good catch. If you have questions about Magic the Gathering that pertain to specific rules, especially rules interactions that aren't currently going on stream, I'd encourage you to use a Magic Judge chat room. There are a lot of great ones of those where people are happy to answer questions. Amulet plus a land. I think I'm gonna bin the land and keep the amulet. This hand. So we have the amulet, but this hand's actually really terrible at flipping amulet, right? We need to find our way into some cantrips here. Cards that let us draw cards and add counters to this. They have something like Assassin's Trophy here that's really bad for us, or if they have 2 more lands into a Vivian, we'll have a hard time as well. I think it's a tough time, like people telling me like cards my opponent's deck usually has. I think you're overreaching. So like when you're playing against decks that like aren't really established archetype, there tend to be a lot of variation in the cards that they're going to play. So again, just like try not to make assumptions about things they are and aren't playing for the most part. What's going on, Ashiok? I keep one of these. I'd have to have Pro Tour experience to project Pro Tour experience. Enjoy your trip, all expenses paid. I'm probably gonna bin the Chromium here because having 3 Nexuses in my hand, I'm gonna start comboing next turn. So like, I get to flip this Primal Amulet and then like have triple Nexus to start going off. No space Twitch, thanks for the brand new tier 1 sub there. I appreciate that, welcome. Thanks for keeping me employed here. And again, I want to stop during my upkeep, and or Magic Arena could just like not stop during my upkeep because the server lag is absurd. That could work too, I guess. Ideally, you want to stop during your upkeep to cast these things So that way, this is shuffled into your deck, so you have a chance to draw it for the turn. So again, here, before this turn starts, I'm going to go ahead and cast this before I draw for the turn. So I have 3 more turns in the bank over here. You can see them on the left side. They're a little bit hidden by my chat overlay. And it got rid of my upkeep stop again. God bless you, Magic Arena. God bless us, everyone. Okay, it probably doesn't matter. It's annoying, but it probably doesn't matter. So now we just have to, like, find a way to get back to our extra turn cards here before long. So let's double up this Revitalize. I'm gonna ditch this Settle the Wreckage, assuming I'm full comboing this turn. So I've got 3 more turns in the bank. And so how the combo in this deck works is eventually we get to a point where there's only copies of Nexus of Fate in our deck. And then we loop all of the turns with enough lands in play to get our Chromium back from our graveyard with this Memorial to Folly. This time I intentionally waited because I wanted to get the counter on my Primal Amulet. Search for Azcanta is great. It's going to start activating and helping me find stuff every turn. Another Anticipate sounds great. Oh, look, a Nexus of Fate. All right, so we're going to stop during my upkeep here. Actually, I'm going to Anticipate now because this other Primal Amulet's going to flip, and then this Nexus will give me 3 more turns. Oh, would you look at that? Would you look at that? Just mono candy. The stop card, I know, hold on. I'm gonna get it. I think it actually wipes out the stop when I go to my end of turn though. Nope, we're good. All right, so we're down to 2 turns in the bank. People were asking how the combo works. This is how you combo. This is how we combo. So we go back up to 5 turns in the bank. We're not quite deterministic yet here, but we're pretty close to deterministic. If you hate your opponents and you firmly believe that if you have all the fun, your opponent has none of it, this is the deck for you. So now the next 5 turns are ours. Oh, would like to put that into the graveyard? No, I would not. I would in fact like to draw that Nexus of Fate. Another Primal Amulet, sure. Whatever, it doesn't matter. We're close, and I'm gonna have to hide that so it doesn't block my primal things here. All right, let's get a bunch more turns. The best games with this deck are the ones where you win, where your opponent just concedes before you even cast your Chromium. Yes, the win condition is generally your opponent concedes. The eventual win condition. So I usually don't like to get Chromium back until I'm deterministic, and I'm not deterministic until my library's small enough to get the what's it called back every turn. Oh, I should have, like, quad Ravenscribed them. Yeah, that would be funny. All right, next discovery will take 4 cards out of their hand. It'll be great. Transform that one. All right, I'm gonna cast this next one. Actually, this next one, I'm gonna take 4 more turns, then I'm gonna get my Chromium back, okay? Triggers. All right. How many turns do you think we have banked up at the moment? If 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We have 12 turns stored up. 12 turns. And people think Teferi's the villain of this format. Oh, my sweet summer child. Let me tell you a story if you think Teferi's what's wrong with this format. Do I have a discovery left in my deck? I've gone through 1, 2, 3. Am I through all of them? I have 1, 2, 3. All right, sorry. Next. Marisa didn't show up here for some reason. Thank you, the sassy dog. I appreciate that. Thank you for the biddies too. Man, I really want to like quad dispersal them. It actually wasn't the first unique promo, it was the second, right? Let me tell you a story. Why not Nova first? I don't know. It's like a choose your own adventure book, chat. You can just like pick your favorite way to win the game from there, close your eyes, and then follow it at random. Yeah, Fire Song and Sunspear was the first original one. Good, I'm not crazy. Woof. This deck's usually pretty consistent because it's like, excuse me, almost all cantrips, but them are some rough hands in a row. I guess I'm gonna keep this and try to a second land. Harrison with the brand new tier 1 sub. Welcome. Thanks for keeping me employed here this month. I appreciate that. Woof. All right, this might be a quick third. Our poker hand is excellent. Settles with Nova's full is quite good. You can't win if your opponent settles the wreckage, your Chromium, but you could choose to not lose. You just take infinite turns until they concede. It's a game of stamina at that point, really. If your opponent takes your Chromium, you could just keep taking turns until somebody gives up. Well, that was one of the worst draws in the deck. Only 2 pair. They've impact. They're coming for our poker hand, chat. They're coming for our poker hand. Rainer, thanks for the brand new Prime Support. Welcome. Thanks for keeping me played here. I don't actually know the legality. I would concede because I value my time. But I don't actually know the legality in Paper Magic or what the rules are in Magic Arena. Things aren't looking good for our hero, chat. Astrogene, thanks for the brand new Prime support. There's a lot of great people making a lot of great stuff on Twitch right now. Thanks for supporting mine this month with that. We're just dead, right? Yep. All right, sometimes you're only gonna die. Onward, upward, backward, forward, move along to the next one. Thanks everyone for hanging out today, by the way. Remember, if you're enjoying the content, to make sure you hit the follow button on Twitch. That doesn't cost you anything. It lets you know when I go live and with what. I'm here streaming Magic content at least 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. I start with Magic Arena about 11:30 in the morning. I go till about 5 or 6. And I stream some Magic online with some of Magic's older formats, Modern and Legacy, for a couple hours before that. I also stream on the weekends on occasion. You can follow me on Twitter as well if you're interested in what decks I'm playing and when. Hey, McKenna, thanks for the brand new Prime support. Welcome, welcome. Sounds great. Lands and castable cantrips. Sign me up. Even if your win rate is 50-50, you're still winning 95% of the time. Yep. The games you lose are fast, and the games you win are long and brutal. They're great. Yeah, I agree, Isabus. I went back to the radical ideas for a reason. I'm glad I tried the charter courses, but I do agree that the radical ideas are a little bit better. You guys should save gold for the new set or buy more packs. That depends entirely on what your goals are. If you want to play with cards that exist now, obviously you should just buy packs now. If you would rather wait and get newer cards, you should wait and get newer cards. So, Drake's deck maybe? Could be mono blue as well. Likely Drake's though. Mono blue usually has a... Alright, Phoenix deck. Got it. Phoenixes are good to know about because they kind of impact how we're going to sideboard. So against the Phoenix builds of Drakes, we want all the Settle the Wreckages, where against the non-Phoenix builds, we want copies of like Eldritch Reborn and stuff like that. Honestly, there's a good chance that like the decks that are good now continue to be good when the new set comes out, and just additional archetypes are introduced to the format, because like unless something out that like comes out that like hard counters some of the existing decks, we're just gonna get better mana to bring decks that exist now that are a little bit weaker up with more consistency. Yeah, easy opt here. At this point, I'm just kind of looking for an amulet so that I kind of get my combo going. No, standard's not getting 50% bigger. We're going from 5 sets to 6 sets with the next set that releases. Yes, that too. You'll see more 3-color decks with a small splash, because with all the shocklands being introduced, 3-color mana bases become more consistent. So it's like easier to play like green, black, splash, red, or green, black, splash, blue, etc. with more shocklands. Sure. If I don't find an amulet for next turn, I'm just gonna go ahead and Cleansing Nova this one Crackling Drake. I'm gonna just keep our health total kind of high. I guess it's only a 1-power Drake though. Yeah, I'm a liar actually. It's only got 1 power. I'm just gonna go ahead and pass here. They might flip this Phoenix back into play next turn, and then in which case I could just Settle the Wreckage, the Drake, and the Phoenix. Sure, but this is... Magic the Gathering is a really complex game, and just because one build could be strictly inferior doesn't mean people aren't going to play it, because strictly inferior, people like to use strictly in the non-strict sense a lot of the time. When people say something is strictly worse, what a lot of the times they mean is it's situationally worse. So even if like a new deck pops up that's like a more consistent black-green mid-range deck than straight black, better mid-range deck than just straight black-green might have some small matches where it's better. So people will still play the older builds, 1, because they own the cards already, and 2, because they just prefer the play style of it. Words have meaning, yep. Those darn words, they're always out to get me. I think I just cash this in. This Drake gets bigger. Nah, I don't think I take 4. The Drake just gets bigger otherwise. Like taking 3 from the bird is whatever. Since literally now means figuratively, strictly will soon mean roughly. I mean, in the Magic community and gaming communities, that's how it's used. It means approximately. It's often worse. It's very rare that things are strictly better. Very, very rare. And here's the other thing. This is the other thing that makes something strictly worse, strictly better, invalidating something else. You have to prove that it's strictly better, and proving things in the context of Magic is basically impossible because there's just not enough data, and the amount of rigor that you need to go through and the amount of variations of things that you're playing against to show that something is strictly a better archetype is a very complex process that's difficult to do. People will always craft the best deck possible. It's just not true. In fact, this entire stream is kind of a testament to that. Look at the list of decks that are in my deck queue. I think it's very easy to say that the 3 best decks in the standard format are Jeskai Control, Green Black Midrange, and some form of Drakes. But like, we spend almost no time playing those archetypes. People play games for fun, and people have fun playing different combinations of cards. Yes, spikes will always build the best deck, but speaking from a great deal of experience, the number of people who are spikes with regards to card games are far outweighed by people that are casual and people that just want to have a good time. TCG players just want to have fun, chat. Most Timmies thinks they're spikes. Yep, that's also true. There's a lot of people who fancy themselves spikes who are definitely not. They'd much prefer to just like play their sweet thing. They think their sweet thing is much better than it is, and they think they're a spike while playing their sweet thing that's really just not that competitive. Spike refers to a player who is competitively focused and wants to win, doesn't care about having fun generally, and just wants to win with whatever they're playing. All right, so we can start comboing next turn, right? We can Radical Idea to flip this, and then Nexus of Fate, take 2 turns. You needed a win con in the Amulet deck that didn't require black. What would I use? I don't know. Why would I not use black? Black is just, I like Chromium the best. What's it called when you want to win while having fun? Unrealistic a lot of the time. Use these bits and their 500 I sent you earlier to bump your preferred Golgari mid-range deck. Will do. goes the weasel. Do 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 do. All right, so rejuvenation's pretty slow here, and then usually I trim a Radical Idea and a Cleansing Nova. That seems fine. Yeah, that seems fine. Nexus shouldn't reshuffle or shouldn't be. I agree. They could also make it cost more mana. There were a lot of little knobs they could have twisted with regard to Nexus of Fate to make it marginally less offensive. Lands and cantrips. Would I classify this as a feel smart deck? Nah, it's just a combo deck. What do I think of an Immortal Sun? I don't like that swap beast to bust. I think the Bindings and the Eldest Reborns are really important for the Drakes matchup. If you wanted to put an Immortal Sun on the sideboard, I'd probably replace the one copy of Spyglass that I have in there. Yeah, I think all the decks that are getting better mana with the Shocklands that are coming up will be better in the new set. It's a pretty easy conclusion to jump to. Versus the Bant version. I haven't spent a lot of time playing the Bant version, so I don't have a good frame of reference to tell you how this deck lines up versus other decks compared to the Bant deck. Yeah, I haven't spent much time playing Turbo Frog Coons. I played it like once or twice. I know what they're referring to. I just don't have a good frame of reference. I don't have enough experience with it. Alright, too many Nexi early here. They attack with both Electromancer. I'll probably just settle their wreckage. Which post-board, I wouldn't be too surprised if this doesn't resolve. They tend to have more counter spells post-board, strokes and negates and stuff like that. What deck beats Jeskai control the hardest? I really like the green-red Dino Frenzy deck that we've played a bit of against Jeskai. If you're looking for a sweet one against Jeskai, I think that would probably be my pick. Yeah, I'm just gonna do this. Kill me. It depends on your configuration of black-green. Saying just black-green is kind of non-specific. There's a lot of different black-green decks that are good right now. If they have a counterspell here, we're gonna be dead. Kill me. No, I didn't mean actually kill me. I meant don't have it. Rats. The blue-black pirates is pretty good against the control decks as well, that's true. Especially the Jeskai control decks that aren't playing 4 Niv really struggle against blue-black pirates. Do I want all these cleansing novas? Probably not. Probably not. love to play first. This is fine. I guess it's a little mediocre. It doesn't have a second white source, so like this hand needs to draw a land and it needs spells. Yeah, maybe because I don't have double white and I have 5 lands as a mulligan. This deck's not playing Teferi because it doesn't have a good way to protect Teferi. So this deck isn't playing actual fog cards like the Bant Nexus deck does. This deck is playing cards that gain life, and those cards can't help keep your Teferi alive. In my experience, the mana in Esper Control is not worthwhile. It's really clunky and inefficient. Alright, well, we're gonna bind some things up here. I'm gonna keep the opt because I can cast it this turn. Might just binding an Electromancer next turn, honestly. Depending on what they do. I guess they could theoretically flip a Phoenix into play this turn, in which case I'd probably bind that. I have, like, radical idea. Get a bird going. Oh, do they not have another land? They must have a land, right? They've been to land? Yeah. I think I'm actually leaving that there because I need a second white source to cast Settle the Wreckages down the line. So, do you want to burn a Spell Pierce on Ixalan's Binding? I guess they could have Negate too. Alright, lock him out. Good night. Sure. Lock him up. May you draw all your Crackling Drakes and Electromancers. Draw all of them, please. Sure.
Every problem has... Just want to peek. The weight is killing me.
Just want to peek. The weight is killing me. That's only in Modern, Yachdi. Death and Dex is one of the established better archetypes in Legacy. No threat this turn's incredibly good for us. Wow, I thought for sure we were flipping Azcanta there. Maybe I'm supposed to hold this for the Dispersal half. Their hand must just be like infinite counterspells, right? If they don't get a threat into play that they can keep around, the search for Azcanta is going to bury them very quickly with card advantage. Yo, hopefully they've got a bunch of cards they can't cast in their hand. That's true, I forgot about the bindings. They just bend an Electromancer to the Tormenting Voice. They've been to Phoenix. Yep. Yep. Most of these decks have Niv. Well, blue-red decks don't have Disenchant or Neutralize effects. And a lot of the other decks that have access to those colors have things like Ixalan's Binding and Conclave Tribunal and Assassin's Trophy that are a little bit more flexible in terms of taking things off the table. I'm just gonna go ahead and pass here. Our hand's gonna look very different at the end of their turn. We're gonna activate Azcanta plus double anticipate here most likely. That is the third red for them, which unlocks Niv if they have it. Which I'm kind of short on answers to Niv at this point. They have 2 copies of Cleansing Nova and that's it. Yeah. And like if they have negates, we're gonna be in trouble. Is this game 3? Yeah, I agree. I think they have a counterspell here. Milling them with Niv is tough because it requires us to have enough health to like draw through. There's a good chance we're not gonna have enough health to do that this game. Okay, that could be a way to take Niv off the table. So I'm gonna try and cantrip into flipping this amulet before I cast the Cleansing Nova, because if I can flip the amulet, the Cleansing Nova will get double cast. Yeah, maybe I'm supposed to wait for the end step Nexus. That's probably correct. I think we're dead here. Yeah, good games, opponent. How are we doing tonight, folks? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks for dropping in. If you're a new viewer, thanks for stopping by. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. My name is Jeff Hoagland. I'm a full-time streamer and content producer here on Twitch. I'm here playing Magic 30, 40, 50 hours a week. If you enjoy my stuff, please consider subscribing to my channel. My subscribers are the people that keep me employed here. I love what I do, but I wouldn't be here day in and day out without their wonderful support. By subscribing, you can also support my stuff by checking out some of my very wonderful sponsors. CoolStuffInc.com buys and sells a lot of cool stuff, including TCG singles using promo code Jeff5. You can save 5% on Magic, Pokemon, Warhammer, and Yu-Gi-Oh cards with them. Neo Bars makes wonderful candy-flavored protein bars using code Hoagland at bit.ly/HoagleBar. You can save 10% on your purchases with them. Hurly Burly Studios does professional Magic the Gathering altars. You could find a selection of their work on their website and save 10% on any of your orders with them by using code Jeff10 at checkout there. And of course, BCW suppliers are the only ones I trust to predict my wonderful shuffling deck here using code Jeff Holiday Stream at bit.ly/BCW sale. You can save 20% on a selection of extra discount and holiday stuff that they have there through the end of the year. And we're heading on in to our next match with the Amulet deck here. Lost a close one to the Drake's deck there. I talk quickly so we can have a short ad break to plug the people who help pay my bills, but not spend all the time doing that so I can have time to get back to playing more Magic the Gathering. It's good little mix, right? You need to have a little bit of that to keep things going, but you don't want the stream to be all about the ads, right? For those of you that are not new, about once an hour, hour and a half or so, I take a break and plug half the sponsors because they're great. The faster we chill, the sooner we kill. Yep. This hand's really good. You can read all about this deck and different play patterns and ways to sideboard and my thoughts on different matchups in my primer on it on coolstuffinc.com. Yeah, I only take sponsorships for things that I've used, so it's easy to be genuine when they're like actual products that I have hands-on experience with. And I only take advertisements for things that I think are good. It's much easier to sell good products than bad products. This is a pretty aggressive start from the opponent here. I'm glad we were on the play this game. On the draw, we'd probably be too slow. I'm not going to play the Radical idea this turn because I want to play it post-Amulet so that way I can draw more cards or get this flipped. I'm ready to defend the realm. SciTech, thank you very much for the 12-month resubscription. I knight thee, defender of the realm. Go forth and protect us from Twitch chat. What percent of my incomes is sponsors versus subs? It's definitely more subs than anything else. Subs are probably somewhere between like 60 and 70% of my income. That one can stay right there. All right, so do I Amulet or do I Settle the Wreckage? So next turn, this is hitting for 2. This is going to hit for 6. This is going to hit for 1. So that's 6, 7, 8, 9. Nah, agreed. Let's get the Amulet going. Greed is good. What if they play the Anthem creature? If they play the Lord this turn, I'm taking 3, 8. I'm not dead even if they have the Anthem creature, so I think this is fine. Although this makes my Settle the Wreckage worse later on because now they don't have to attack with everything. I don't know. Can't I just like ignore my opponent and start comboing? They could have a Conclave Tribunal here. Yeah, that's rough. Conclave Tribunal makes going for greed much, much worse. Pretty punished there. All right, step into my office, will you? Goodbye, friends. Yeah, I agree. I don't think I'm supposed to play. I don't have tools to play around Tribunal there either. I think I'm just binning that, looking for an Amulet. Just want to like get that going ASAP. We actually didn't get a host today. We've just been going for a while, Goons. We're up over 2,000 at one point. I think I take the land now at this point. Maybe I'm supposed to take the... All right, that's... Dig, dig, dig. We are playing an Esper Nexus of Fate combo deck. Brutal. Not taking the Revitalize bit me. Tough. Yeah, if we hadn't gotten what's it called? If we hadn't gotten a Conclave Tribunal, that probably would have been a dunk for us, but we did, so it wasn't. Bring in the extra sweeper. This is one of the better matchups for this deck, although you can sometimes get got. So just bring in an extra sweeper. Awesome, Dalton. Well, thanks for dropping back in. A professional, that's not true in the slightest. It's one of the great things about Magic. Everybody gets got at some point. Yep. They just had one of their most aggressive starts here, 2 games in a row. Life-linking creature on 1 into the Pride Mage. Looking for a white source. It feels bad to bottom that. It could even be right to keep that there and then just like try and anticipate into the land. All right, 4 shots to the plains. Perfect. Yep. Hopefully they are looking to come sail away with me next turn. Sure. Things that don't really matter for 100. They're attacking with at least 3 things here, most likely, to flip their Legion's Landing. Goodbye, friends. If you want to send more than 20 bucks at my LGS doing a Chaos Draft tonight with... I have no idea how much Magic cards cost. I barely know what constructed staples cost, much less what random booster packs cost. That's really good. This was... The opponent attacked really well there. They left their knight back because this will get a boost from the History of Benalia here in a hot second. Looking for an amulet here. Just checking. That's the upside to Arena, is when you scry something that you didn't want to the bottom, you can double check and make sure it actually went there. Would like to find a Cleansing Nova or a Settle the Wreckage here. Woof. So I'm not quite dead this turn. I'm taking, oh, actually I'm exactly, that was a mistake. I am exactly dead to the stupid Adanto, aren't I? Yeah, I'm dead with the token. I forgot about the Adanto. Whoops. I'm gonna draw Settle the Wreckage here and feel real dumb. Maybe they'll split their attackers up here and respect my authority. I wouldn't respect me. I'd attack with everything. Yes! Victory! This is such a good Settle the Wreckage deck. People love playing around Settle the Wreckage, and it's great. It's so great. All right, one Cleansing Nova, please. One Cleansing Nova. Oh no! Oh no! The pride cometh before the fall, chat. The pride cometh before the fall. I was just so excited that they didn't attack for lethal. Little did we know. Steady as she goes. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Listen, that's just good, clean entertainment there, okay? They did it for the camera. It made for good television. Made for good television. Yeah, the opponent played that really well. I like their attacks into and around Settle the Wreckage at basically every point. Yeah, I usually sign off when my energy's out. I don't try and run past when I'm entertaining. If the energy's gone, the content gets bad, and I just would rather go do something else. Let's dig for some white sources here, since I already have my Primal Amulet. The spyglass is in the sideboard for Field of Ruin. You can find my sideboarding guide for this archetype on my articles on Cool Stuff Inc. from 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. Perfect. We'll go Ritual. Did they bin Vivian? No, they drew Vivian. Awkward. Vivian's really annoying. Vivian is a tough nut to crack. They're playing the Dino Frenzy deck. Yeah, so to beat Vivian, you have to end step Nexus of Fate, untap, play Amulet, flip Amulet over your 2 turns, or you have to have 8 mana, so that way you can play Amulet, flip Amulet right away.
Every fight makes me stronger. I've seen things that would break someone like you.
Jiaosu's the card that's like so good against green black. It's quite fantastic. Nah, I just didn't mess with it. Legit advice. I don't know. Nobody else has commented. I think everybody else is gonna survive at 30 FPS, 1080. I think it's gonna be okay. No, I'm just cleansing Nova. Yeah, I'm just gonna use my mana and cleansing Nova this turn.
The wilds are my shield.
So we're gonna settle here. We're actually quickly approaching the range of just playing Amulet, flipping Amulet in the same turn. So, seems fine. Yeah, Dino's active. Hopefully they attack with both here and we just settle the wreckage. We are slowly ramping them towards their Banefire though. If they're playing the Dino Frenzy deck, they have access to 2 to 4 Banefire here. Yeah, this deck can beat Vivian's ult for sure. He doesn't even give haste, right? It's just like Vigilance, Trample, Indestructible. Just do this. Just keep her off of ulting. Annoy them a little bit. They discarded Vivian. They must have another one, right? Either that or their hand's like double Banefire. Yeah, just have another one. That makes way more sense. It was like,
It wasn't met. Balance comes.
Balance comes. So they have, so I'm taking 1 this turn down to 18. Then, so I am gonna be dead to Banefire. Oh, they skipped their combat step. Whoops. Oopsie poopsie. Whoopsie poopsie. Yeah, so I played the amulet without flipping it here to try and bait them into Vivian down ticking, because if they Vivian down tick, I'll flip the amulet in response. Oh, I want to do this first. Silly opponent, you've activated my trap card. This deck's a little bit convoluted, Frankie. It involves an infinite combo, and then eventually killing its opponent with a 7/7 dragon. So this is no longer a land, or no longer an artifact or enchantment or creature with flying. So when Vivian's trigger goes to resolve, it's no longer a legal target, so she won't be able to destroy it anymore. You get to use Nexus infinitely because it shuffles itself back into our deck every time we cast it. So I'm going to start by casting Opt, because if I hit Nexus, I could start going off. Is that what I want to do? I bind Nova because I don't want to die to a Banefire. So if I cast Ritual of Rejuvenation, I'll have enough mana left over to cast Nexus. It's gonna go a couple different. I think I'm gonna start with Opt. I'm gonna leave that on top because I can still cast it and cast Nexus. So I only have 8 mana now, so I can't cast this and cast Nexus, so I might as well do this. Yeah. We're dead to Banefire. Which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. If I had a sequence differently, maybe the Settle the Wreckage could have stopped us from taking 8 here. So they have another Fireball. We are dead here. Yeah, good game, opponent. I can hit Revitalize here. Yeah, rats. Close. Close. Yeah, maybe I'm supposed to keep the Cleansing Nova, so I could Nova there, and then I gain 8, and then I'm not dead to the Banefire. Yeah, I think I misassessed and was supposed to, keep the Cleansing Nova on top. Oh, you know what? I probably should bring in the third Nexus of Fate, because end step Nexus to take 2 turns in a row is one of our better ways to win this game. When they have Vivian going. So again, this is something I say a lot when people talk about Eldest Reborn, is that people always like to talk about Eldest Reborn like it kills the cards you want it to kill. Eldest Reborn kills their worst thing. So unless the card you want to kill is their only thing, your Eldest Reborn is not going to do what you want it to do. So Eldest Reborn is there to bring in against decks like Drakes and Jeskai Control, which generally have very low threat density, so the card you want to kill is always their only card. people are running Blood Moon in their Jund sideboard because Jund is a really terrible deck. So you need to try and steal free wins against decks that are better than you by casting Blood Moon and hoping they can no longer play Magic. So they have... I think I just pass here. I don't want to get too low because I don't want to die to a Banefire. So I think I want to settle this attack. For a non-snarky answer, it's probably because Blood Moon's much better than Alpine Moon against Amulet Titan, but Amulet Titan's like a really small percentage of the format, so I wouldn't really hedge that if I were you. Wasn't that a non-snark? Nah, I think that's definitely a snarky answer.
You can't stop nature.
I'm self-aware. I know when I'm snarky. That's definitely the snarky answer. Ooh, don't mind if it does. Well, the opponent's deck is really sweet, by the way. We played the opponent's deck a bunch on stream. It was the deck of the day yesterday as my pick, so you can find lots of videos of that one on the YouTube channel. So I can actually gain enough life to get out of this, right? They're only fireballing me for 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They're fireballing me, so I need another life gain spell. I need another life gain spell, right? Because they have 9, 10, 11, 12, so they're doing 11 to me. Brutal. So since I need to hit another one anyways, I might as well cast this. Rough. So we're dead. I have one more redraw, right? Please keep in mind, if you want to tell me I did something wrong, that's welcome, but you need to tell me why it's wrong. If you want to say, Jeff, I disagree with that play, this is what I would do, this is why I would do it, that's welcome, that generates discussion. Just telling me I'm wrong does not generate discussion. That's actually, we've gone for about 90 minutes with that one. So yeah, so we had some good games of Magic in there. We won some, we lost some, we had some good beats, we had some bad beats. We got by a mono white player, and we got double Bane fired out there. If you're looking for a kind of cute combo deck, we played this one a bunch on stream before. You can find a primer for it on Cool Stuff Inc. there. And all that jazz. Am I totally sold on Arena? Now, Arena is the future of competitive Magic, and it's the future of digital Magic for sure. For sure. Is the best digital Magic product we've ever had. It's not particularly close. I don't think I'm going to get to 3 more decks tonight. We're going to go ahead and do Grixis Midrange and Jund Dinos and then call it a night. I've been going for a little bit here already. I don't want to go too late. Hey, Fist of Dorn, thank you very much for the brand new Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome. Thanks for keeping me employed here.